Welcome to Aligned Christ-Centered Yoga. My name is Linda and I'll be guiding our practice today. My question for you today is, how are you growing in the knowledge and the wisdom of our Lord? I was reflecting on the story of Philip. In John's book, he talks about a time towards the end of Jesus' life when Jesus was having what had to have been a very frustrating conversation with his disciples. So after 3 years of living with the Lord, of walking with him, of seeing the miracles, of seeing all the teachings, they still have questions. And Thomas asks Jesus, how will we know the way? How will we know where to go? And Jesus answers him. And then Philip says this to him. It's the account is in John 14. Philip said to him, "Lord, show us the Father, and it is enough for us." Jesus said to him, "Have I been with you so long, and you still do not know me, Philip? Whoever has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, 'Show us the Father'? Do you not believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me? The words that I say to you, I do not speak on my own authority, but the Father who dwells in me does his works. Believe me that I am in the Father and the Father is in me, or else believe on the account of the works themselves." Later, after the resurrection, after the ascension, Philip encounters an Ethiopian eunuch. And the Ethiopian is reading the scriptures, but he doesn't understand them. And Philip is the one who shares God's story with him, all the way through the account of Jesus the Christ. Are you complacent with where you are in your faith? Or are you constantly pushing and growing? And how is your yoga practice a part of that growth? Today we're going to work on releasing the hips and the upper back. Meet me on the mat in a seated position. Legs either crossed comfortably in front of you or gently folded behind you. If they're behind you, they're just a little bit wide of the hips. And remove the flesh away from the sitting bones. Begin to feel the weight of the body sinking into the earth. Draw the navel in and up. Stack the shoulders over the hips, jaw parallel to the floor. And find alignment from the top of the head all the way down through the pelvis. Closing your eyes, begin to let the space around you fade away. Drawing your attention inward, begin to find your breath and notice where you begin today. Gently begin to deepen and lengthen the breath, creating a more three-dimensional breath. Filling the lungs and the rib cage, all the way into that diaphragm muscle. And exhale, drawing the belly in, softening the rib cage, emptying the lungs. Notice the response of your body to this sitting position. Does it feel natural? Is it comfortable? Where are you feeling a little tight or tense? Where might you want to adapt your practice along the way? What is your mental state today? Are you distracted? Are you focused? What are you feeling emotionally? Just noticing. So yoga is this practice of inquiry, constantly noticing what is going on in our bodies, what thoughts are passing through our minds. Acknowledging those and then beginning to step back and understand them. Today, I would invite you to make this practice an inquiry of God. Invite the Holy Spirit to embrace your questions and to guide you into wisdom and knowledge. Gently draw your chin down to your chest and feel the weight of the head drawing down, keeping the shoulders stacked over the hips and relaxed. Gently bring the right ear to the shoulder, chin forward, left ear to shoulder. Back and forth here. Next time you bring that right ear to the shoulder, let it settle. Begin to find the length down the left side of the neck. Draw number 8 with your nose. What's going on in the neck and the upper back today? And as you're ready, find the stretch that's right for you and settle there. Notice what's happened with that right shoulder. Maybe it's starting to come up to meet the ear, and can you drop it down? And if you want a little more stretch, go ahead and walk the left fingertips away from the head. And gently bring the right hand up and just above the ear and very gently draw yourself into a deeper stretch. Can you use breath to release the tension in the neck? As you're ready, let the hands come down and the chin come forward. Take one deep breath here. Gently bring the left ear to the left shoulder. And draw that figure 8 with your nose. And notice how the neck feels on this side. And as you're ready, just settle in there, finding the perfect stretch. And if you want more, those right fingertips walk out. Left arm comes up and over the head, gently guiding the head into a slightly deeper stretch. As you're ready, hands come down, chin comes forward. One breath here. The next inhale, draw the arms all the way up and overhead. Interlacing the fingers, turn the palms up and draw the gaze up and down. And can the shoulders stay heavy? The arms long. And what's going on in the front of the body and the back of the body? And one more time here. And release. Find a cat stretch, backs of the hands towards me. And gently bring that left shoulder forward and then tilt the body, actually bend at the waist a little bit to draw that left shoulder up and then forward. And looking underneath it, find your stretch. And release. Bring the palms forward, arms all the way up, hands down to the side. Open up into a cow stretch. A little bit of a back bend as the collarbone reaches towards the sky. Bringing the hands forward, interlacing awkwardly. Tucking your chin, round your back into cat. Gently bring the other arm slightly up, slightly forward. Look underneath, again looking for that stretch across the shoulder blades in the back. And noticing, is that bottom shoulder starting to creep up towards the ear? Can you let it hang heavy? As you're ready, release. Palms towards me. Reach all the way up. Exhale one more time. Opening up into the back of the body. Opening up the front of the body as you come into cow. Arching the back of the body. As you're ready, release. If you are on a prop, come off it. Bring any props that you have towards the front edge of the mat. Bring your right leg forward, your left leg behind you in a pinwheel. And bring that left hand to your hip. Begin to gently rock forward and back. So you're massaging out the hips, checking in, noticing what's going on in the lower back, maybe even in the abdominals and in the hips. And keeping the movement of the hips, rocking, take the hands back, go from toe to fingers, back and forth here. As you're ready, bring the arms up, parallel to the floor. Palm down as you come to the hand, palm up as you go back to the foot. And notice how just changing that lever might change the sensations in the back or the shoulders. And as you're ready, take that right hand behind you, lift that left arm up, maybe lift the body up as well, and sweep down. And twice more here. Come all the way up, draw the hips up, let the shoulder blades glide down, engage through the abdominals, breathe in, breathe out. And then as you're ready, just sweep the arm all the way over. Bring the hips back, hold on to that front leg, and lift it up towards the chest and rock it down towards the floor, back and forth here. And as you're ready, add the movement of the body, dropping the head, the shoulders, the rib cage, and coming back up. And two more times here. As you're ready, bring your leg down. Center the body over that leg. Come all the way forward and support your head. So for some of us, that means resting the head on a block. Others of us are a little more flexible. We can bring the head all the way down to the floor. What's right for you? Stay here for two more breaths. Can you find a little more length in the spine? As you're ready, press into your hands and come up. Go ahead and bring those legs wide. And flexing the feet, just bend and straighten the legs a couple of times. Engaging the muscles of the legs, press the heels towards the outside corners of the room. Draw the quadriceps in towards the hips. Hands to the hip crease, hinge forward. And maybe bring the hands forward to the floor as well for support. So just go to where the body takes you. Why did you stop here? How comfortable are you with questions? As you're ready, press into your hands and come up. So we're going to repeat that hip sequence on the other side. Right leg comes behind, right hand to hip, and begin to simply rock forward and back. Take that right hand to the foot and sweep it across to the other hand. Connect movement with breath. And as you're ready, bring that arm parallel to the floor, palm up as you go back to the foot, across, back and forth here. Then bring that hand behind you, press into the hand, sweep all the way up, and release. And 2 more times here. Again, just stay up, open up across the chest. Do you want to look down or up? As you're ready, release, letting that arm come down. Hands to that front leg, lift and lower. Gently bring the body down, head and shoulders, warming up through the back. How fluid is that movement? As you're ready, let that leg come down, hands to either side. Again, draw the body over the leg, support the head if that's better for you. Forehead heavy on the props or your hands. One more breath here. Gently press into the hands and rise up. Again, bringing the legs out, bending and straightening them. Pressing into the hip crease, coming across. And this time I would invite you to bring your arms to the opposite legs. And let the head hang heavy. And switch so that the other arm is in front. And gently bring the hands to center and come up. Bring the left foot to the inside of that right leg. Keep that foot flexed, turning towards the extended leg. Exhale and come forward. Inhale and draw back. Back and forth here. One more time, coming forward. Stay here. Go to where the body takes you. Let the head hang heavy. Imagine that there's a deflated balloon in the tightest space. And imagine that your breath is inflating that balloon just a bit and creating a little more space where that's tight. And exhale and release. Bring the outside arm to the inside. Sweep that top arm all the way out to the side, up and over towards the toes, and then across. Back and forth here. So when we think about hip release, our hips are connected in so many ways to the other parts of the body. Here, just creating a little bit of length up and down the side of the body and across the back and shoulders. One more time, come up and over, stay here. Begin to anchor into that other sitting bone, maybe draw the belly in, the shoulder back. And inhaling, let the arm come up and then come across and find a gentle twist. And release and let that arm come up. And switch legs. So again, a little traction between the foot and the leg. Just imagine that you're standing in tree pose here. The leg is strong, the foot connected. And exhaling, come forward. Inhaling, come back. And find your range of motion. Your body might respond very differently on one side than the other. Maybe you even support that leg. Maybe the leg is bent. Maybe it's supported with a prop. How can the practice work best for you? As you're ready, come forward. Engage through the abdominals, draw the belly in, let the head come down. Consider crossing the wrists as you hold on, even if the hands are on the floor. Again, just creating a little more release across the upper back. Bring that outside arm to the inside. Sweep the opposite arm out to the side, and then up and over, out to the side, and across. So back and forth here. Two more times. So next time, bring the arm up and over, but stay. Notice, how is it different on this side? Breathe into it. And as you're ready, sweep that arm out and come across. And find the stretch here as you look underneath that right arm. And as you're ready, inhale and release. Cross the legs in front of you, come forward and meet me in table. Fingertips wide, palm of the hand reaching up, a little pocket of air in the palm of the hand, elbows turned in towards each other, pressing into the tops of your feet. Exhaling, find cat. Breathing in, find cow. Connecting with breath. 3 more times, cat to cow. What are you feeling in the front of the body? What are you feeling in the back of the body? Meeting me at center, bring your hands one handprint forward, come forward onto your knees and find a strong kneeling plank. And from here, come down to the mat. Forearms on either side of the mat, fingers spread wide, rise up into Sphinx pose, and exhale down. So as the body rises, press down through the feet and the forearms. One more time. And come into Sphinx and stay here. And imagine the elbows drawing back towards the hips. And can you press into the tops of your feet just a little bit more? How does that change the pose? Exhaling down to the mat, bring the hands to the rib cage, elbows towards each other into the sky. Come back to child's pose. And move through that flow twice more, kneeling plank to the mat, Sphinx to child. Stay in child for 3 breaths. Is your breath 3-dimensional? Can you feel the breath in the front of the body, the sides, and the back of the body? As you're ready, press into your hands. Meet me in table pose. Curling the toes under, draw knees up into your rib cage, and meet me in your first downward facing dog. Just deeply modified here, finding length first in the back, from fingertips to shoulders and shoulders to hip. Releasing the muscles of the neck as you shake your head no and yes. And engaging the abdominals, pedal through your feet. On the next inhale, heels rise. And then let the heels come down towards the mat and find that first downward facing dog. What is comfortable? What is uncomfortable? What happens if you engage those legs and make them just a little stronger? On the next inhale, let the right leg draw up to the sky. And gaze forward, bring the foot all the way through your hands. Hands to either side of the foot, maybe using a block on either side as well. Begin to drop and lift the back leg. As you're ready, let that back knee come down to the mat. And find the stretch in the front of that back hip. Inhaling, rise up into lunge. And find a back bend. And find the stretch from the top of those left fingertips all the way back down to that back knee. Exhaling, bring hands to the inside of your foot and begin to toe heel your way out. Ball of your foot is off the mat. Heel is still on it. Wrists are directly underneath shoulders and begin to drop into that back hip. So maybe this is enough for you. There's lots of different places we can go from here. Maybe you'd like to roll to the outside of that front leg. You can bring that right hand to the center of the mat. Left hand to the center of the mat, sorry. Twisting towards the inside of that leg. Right arm reaching high. Maybe you bring that back leg up and begin to find a quadricep stretch. And maybe the hand comes all the way down to the foot. Foot presses into hand, hand into foot. Gaze over the shoulder in the fullest expression of the pose. As you're ready, release. Gently toe heel that foot back to center. Curl the toes under in the back and flip the front foot to the back, meeting me in plank. From plank, draw the knees down and maybe come back down in a kneeling plank, or maybe this time it's a grasshopper. And the chest glides through those hands and into a low cobra. Find your back bend. Come through child. And meet me in downward facing dog. On the next inhale, the left leg rises high. Gaze comes forward, foot comes all the way through the hands. Back knee drops and lifts. Just lightly tapping the mat, reaching to the sky. As you're ready, that knee comes down to the mat. Find your lunge as you draw the arms up and settle into the stretch. Inhaling, come into that back bend. How much length can you find from those right fingertips all the way down to that back knee? And exhaling, hands come to the inside of that front foot. Toe heel that foot so that the ball of the foot is off the mat. Wrists directly underneath shoulders, drop into the back hip. Find the pose here first. So each time before you move into the next expression of the pose, decide, is this where I want to stay? Do I want to go any further? Maybe you come to the outside edge of that front foot. Maybe that right hand comes to the center of the mat, using the abdominal muscles to wrap around the spine as you twist up and reach to the sky. Maybe that back leg rises up and you find a quadricep stretch. Maybe you open up the body a little bit further as that arm reaches down to the foot. Foot presses into hand, hand into foot, gaze to sky. Wherever you are, begin to come back out of the pose, slowly and carefully bringing that foot back to the center of the mat. Hands to either side of the foot, raise that back leg up. This time, bring the back foot to the front, float the hips to the sky, and then bend your knees. Holding onto your elbows, gently move side to side with the upper body. At center, bring the hands forward, lifting the heels. If that works for you, drop hips to heels. Hands come back to just behind the pinky toe, feet flat to the mat. Hips stay dropped, rise up into chair pose. And find your chair pose. Engage through the front of the legs, the anterior tibialis in the front of the shin, the quadricep muscles. Drop the back of the hips down, shoulders heavy over hips. As you're ready, rise up into mountain. And exhale, hands to heart. Stay here for 2 breaths and check in. What's your attitude right now? Your emotions? What are you feeling? Let the hands come down. Readjust mountain if you need to. Toes even with each other, feet hip width apart. Bring the arms all the way up and bring that left elbow to the sky as the elbow reaches up and the hand reaches down, tricep stretch. Pressing into the feet, draw thighs back as the hips come forward. And then bring that top arm, that left hand to the other shoulder blade. Bring the right hand across. Gently drop the right elbow down. And consider looking up. Can you find a stretch in the side of the body, in the triceps? As you're ready, release. Let the hands come down. Hands, turn them inside out, bring them all the way up. And stretch in the other side. Elbow rises high. Hand drops to shoulder. Again, finding strong mountain, root, ground, and breathe. Other hand comes all the way across. Whoops, different direction there. Bring the front of that left hand to the back of the other hand. Fingers are curled. I think I said that all wonky. And begin to drop that left elbow. So hands are connected. Right elbow is reaching to the sky. If it's good for your neck, gaze comes up, but you decide. Can you press through that right foot? As you're ready, release and come center. Hands come all the way down. Cup the fingers and the hands. Turn the hands inside out. Bring the palms together all the way up. Mountain pose. And then just keeping the hands in prayer, come down the center of the body and meet me in forward fold. Hands to shins, rise up halfway. Exhaling, come down one leg back and then the other, find plank. And from plank, come down to the mat, however you choose to. Maybe now you're in chaturanga. Or maybe you're still in a kneeling plank, and that's okay. Curling the toes underneath, meet me in downward facing dog. And find breath. And as you settle into downward facing dog and stay here for 3 breaths, what one question do you have for God today? The next inhale, right leg rises high, heel to hip, knee to sky. Open up as you drop that left foot. And then bring that leg up to center and bring it all the way through the hands. And this time rise high up into lunge. And find your lunge, that front shin reaching towards the front edge of the mat, that back thigh reaching towards the sky. And bring the arms out to the side and pivot to the inside of that front leg, dropping the back arm, lifting the front arm. How much length can you find from those left fingertips all the way to those back toes? As you're ready, release. Cartwheel that left arm to the center. Leave that right arm up. Find your twist. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you come to the outside edge of that front foot and the outside edge of the back foot. Can you bring the shoulders a little closer to the hips and away from your ear? And as you're ready, release and pivot and bring the front leg to the back and find plank. And stay in a strong plank for 2 breaths. And then come down to the mat and find your back bend. And curl your toes under and meet me in downward facing dog. How has your downward facing dog shifted since you started today? Compare the body right side to left side. So let's repeat that sequence on the other side. Left leg rises high. Hips to heels, knee to sky, open up. And then as you're ready, bring that leg straight up in center. Engage through the abdominals, float the foot through the hands, and rise up into your lunge. Find your lunge. Maybe reach the shoulders all the way to the sky and then let them glide down the body. Front shin towards the mat. Back heel pressing into that wall behind you. Hands out to the side. Pivot to the inside of your leg. Drop your back arm. Lift your front. Breathe. And how much length can you find up and down the right side of the body? As you're ready, cartwheel. That right hand comes inside that left foot. That left arm reaches to the sky. Find your twist. And if you want to take this one step further, open out to the outside of that front foot. And maybe come to the outside of the back foot. One more breath wherever you are. And unwind. And this time bring the back foot up to the front and find forward fold. And just notice, where is forward fold taking you? And hands to shins, rise up halfway and come back down and bring the hands forward and lift the heels and drop the hips. And hands behind the pinky toes, press the feet flat into the mat. And rise up into chair pose. And find the strength and release of chair, effort with ease. And the next inhale, rise up to mountain pose. Hands to heart. Press into your hands together, and as you do so, activate the muscles of the upper back. Feel the pressure of the thumb on the sternum. Take 2 more breaths. How does your body feel? Can you slow your heart rate down with breath? Exhale, hands come all the way down to the mat. Forward fold. Hands to shins, rise up. Exhale, come down. Plank to the mat. Back bend to downward facing dog. On the next inhale, right leg rises high. Heel to hip, knee to sky, open up. Maybe look underneath that extended front arm. Leg comes all the way up, gaze comes forward, foot comes through the hands, back foot angles towards the edge of the mat. Rise all the way up. Press into the back edge of that back foot. Hips and shoulders towards the front of the room. Bring the hands out to the side. Bring right arm underneath left eagle arms. And let the elbows rise as the shoulder blades drop. Keep the legs in place. And bring the forearms away from your face. Lift your chin and imagine that you're bringing it down onto the rung of a ladder. And find length in the neck. Engaging through the abdominals, your option is to bow down and rise into back bend. And do that twice more, connected to breath. And bring the arms all the way up. And then bring the arms behind you and either press into the small of the back or interlace the fingers, bringing the elbows to the outside edges of the mat. And hinging at the hips, bring the body forward as long as you can and come down into peaceful warrior. Let the head hang heavy. And find the release through the shoulders that's right for you. One more breath. Engage the abdominals. Let those arms slowly come down. Unlace, rise all the way up into your warrior. And then hands to heart. Back foot comes up to meet the front. Stay here and find breath. Check in. Notice the right side of the body compared to the left. Stepping into that left foot, bring that right foot back to warrior one stance. Arms rise high, strong lunge with the front leg, little extra weight in the outside edge of the back foot, shoulders and hips towards the front. Hands out to the side, left arm comes underneath right. Create your eagle arms. Elbows rise, shoulder blades drop. Take that chin up and down onto that imaginary rung of the ladder. And then engaging through the abdominals 3 times. Bow down and come into back bend. And as you're ready, unwind the arms and bring them up. And then bring the hands down behind you, interlacing the fingers awkwardly or pressing into the small of your back. Legs stay strong and long. Hinge at the hips as the body comes all the way forward and then down. Find breath. Two more breaths here. As you're ready, release. Arms come all the way down and up. Hands to heart, back foot rises to meet the front. Mountain pose, final mountain pose. Stay here and check in for 2 breaths. Exhaling, bring the hands down to center. Final forward fold. This time, bring the forearms behind the legs. Hands are reaching into the ankles. Press the calves into the forearms into the calves. Let the head hang heavy. Shake it out. As you're ready, release. Hands to the mat. One breath here. Pressing into the hands, one leg comes back and then the other. Draw the knees down, child to table. And meet me in child. And stay in child for 3 breaths. Surrendering your questions to the Lord, offering them as an offering. One more breath. Hands to the mat. Come up to sitting. And then from sitting, come down onto your back. Let's start with our right leg on the floor. Take that left ankle across the knee. Take that left hand to below the knee and just gently press in the thigh. Maybe keeping that right hand on the hip to keep that hip down. Find stretch. If you want more stretch, keep the arch in the lower back and lift that back leg up towards the body, maybe holding on behind the thigh. If you want more stretch, take that left hand to the front hand to the front leg and rotate that leg back. So the knee is coming towards the foot and that back leg is coming up towards the body. Bring that right foot back to the mat, hands out to the side. Twist the lower body so that that left foot comes to the floor. And bring the right hand on top of the left foot. Press your left foot into the floor at the base of the big toe, little toe, and heel. Imagine the arch pulling up into your hand. Maybe this is enough for you. If you want more, just take that left thumb to that left hip crease and gently draw that hip away from the body. Maybe turn and look the opposite direction. What happens if you put a little more weight at the base of the big toe? Draw the belly in, release, come back to center, and unwind. Bring the knees in, give yourself a hug, and rock side to side. Same thing on the other side. Foot comes down, ankle comes across. So now that right leg is in front, right hand to thigh, pressing that right leg away from the body. If you want more, keeping the arch in the lower back, neutral position of the spine. Left leg draws in towards the body. Find the stretch that's right for you and stay here for 2 more breaths. Bring that left foot down to the mat, arms out to the side. Just twist the lower body until the right foot comes down. Left foot reaches across to connect to the right foot, shoulder blades on the mat. Press through the base of the big toe, little toe, and heel of that right foot. Imagine the arch lifting up into the hand and find your stretch. If you want more, that left thumb comes to the hip crease and you gently draw that leg away from the shoulders. And stay here and breathe. As you're ready, release. Hands out to the side, gently bring the knees in. Give yourself a hug and rock side to side. Bring the feet long and bring the arms up towards the ceiling. Palms face in, reach as high as you can. Let the shoulders thump down to the mat. And then turn the palms to the feet and let the backs of the arms come overhead, keeping the shoulder blades on the mat. So just find whatever expression is right for you. Maybe those arms are straight overhead and connected, but in all likelihood, there's some bending of the arms going on there. Hold on to your elbows and bring your arm up and over your chest. And gently draw your elbows to one side and then the other. And turn and look away from the arms. And 2 more times each side. And as you're ready, come to center and switch the arms. And again, notice, does that make a difference in the range of motion? And begin to maybe turn the head. One more time each, and meet me back at center. Just continue crossing that top arm over, maybe holding on to your ribs. Let the elbows come down towards the belly. And tuck the chin just slightly, finding length in the neck. And maybe walk fingertips out a little further if you want a deeper stretch. Take 2 breaths here. How heavy can those shoulder blades be? Notice which arm is on top. Bring the arms out to the side and turn your head side to side from the top of one ear up and over to the top of the other. And then meeting me back at center, cross the other arm on top and give yourself a hug. And elbows draw away from the face. And maybe the fingertips walk out. And find breath. How heavy can those shoulder blades be? Bringing the arms out to the side again, turn the head side to side, top of the ear to the other ear. 2 more times. Then meeting me at center, bring the arms up and shoulder thump 3 times. And bring the hands down to the mat, palms up, finding Shavasana. As we settle into our final minutes of class, have you gotten complacent with spiritual growth? What's that next step to take to grow in wisdom and knowledge of the Lord? Find your breath and invite the Holy Spirit to guide your heart towards the answers. Gently bring yourself back to this time and this place. Reconnecting with your breath, begin to notice the way your body has settled onto the mat. Gently begin to bring movement back. Wiggle fingers and toes, rotate wrists and ankles. Turn your head side to side from the top of one ear up and over to the top of the other. Taking a deep breath in, bring those arms up and overhead and reach as long as you can. Right fingertips and left toes, left fingertips and right toes. And as you're ready, draw your knees in and roll over onto your side. And stay there for 2 full breaths. On that next inhale, come up to sitting, eyes still closed. And find your sitting bones and stack your shoulders over your hips and notice your alignment. And notice what has changed since you came to the mat today. And notice what has stayed the same. And accept it. It is what it is. On the next inhale, arms come all the way up and overhead, palms together, bringing hands down to heart, bowing your head, joining me in prayer. Holy God, we thank you for your patience with our questions, that you are always with us in the midst of our confusion and our doubts. God, you are so vast, so beyond our understanding. Forgive us when we become complacent and settled, believing that we know all that there is that we need to know about you. Help us, God, to be people of patience when others come to us with their doubts and their confusion, helping us to grow in wisdom and knowledge as we guide others as well. It is in the name of Jesus the Christ that we pray. Amen. Thank you for joining me today.